Imagine you're sitting at your desk, scrolling through endless reviews for high-end pen displays, wondering whether throwing $3,000+ at a 27-inch screen is really going to change the way you create. You've probably felt that mix of excitement and dread. Excited because a bigger canvas and razor-sharp 4K image sound like a dream, and scared because the last time you bought a pricey piece of gear it sat half-used while you kept fiddling with the old tablet you already owned. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. And I'm going to walk you through exactly why the Wacom Cintiq Pro 27 might be the upgrade you actually need or why it could end up as another expensive paperweight. First off, let's talk about the day-to-day experience of drawing on a screen that big. When you flip the Cintiq Pro 27 on, the first thing you notice isn't the 8,192 levels of pressure, it's how the 4K UHD panel fills your field of view. A full HD sketch that would normally feel cramped on a 13-inch tablet suddenly stretches across the whole screen, letting you use broader, more natural strokes. That extra real estate is a game-changer for concept artists who often block out entire environments in one sitting. I've seen illustrators move from sketching on a tiny surface to laying down detailed line work without constantly zooming in and out, which cuts down on the hand-to-mouse fatigue you get when you're forced to work at a scale that doesn't match your intended output. The color gamut is another hidden strength that only shows up once you start doing color-critical work. The Cintiq Pro 27 covers roughly 99% of Adobe RGB, which means the reds and greens you see on screen are almost identical to what you'll get when you export to a calibrated monitor or print. For photographers who retouch RAW files, that fidelity translates into fewer surprises down the line. It's also why many animation studios prefer this size. The wide color space lets you see subtle shading shifts that would be lost on a sRGB-only display, and you can make those decisions right at the drawing board instead of guessing in post. Now, the pen itself feels solid. The Pro Pen 2, which ships with the display, has a nice, balanced weight, and the 8,192 pressure levels actually feel distinguishable as you vary pressure from a featherlight line to a bold stroke. The three-side switches are customizable, and I've seen artists map them to brush size, opacity, or even an undo command. In practice, that means you can keep your hand on the drawing surface and never have to reach for a keyboard shortcut, keeping the creative flow intact. The 8 ExpressKeys along the right side are another productivity boost. They're not just buttons. You can assign whole tool sets, layer toggles, or even a Photoshop action that runs a series of steps you use for line cleanup. Over a few weeks of use, those shortcuts shave off a noticeable amount of time that would otherwise be spent clicking through menus. But let's not gloss over the practical downsides that only become clear after you unpack the thing. At 27 inches, the Cintiq Pro is a heavyweight. It weighs over 30 pounds, so the built-in stand is sturdy but takes up a sizable chunk of desk space. If your workstation is already cramped, you'll need to think about a separate monitor arm or a wall mount solution, both of which add extra cost and installation hassle. The monitor also draws a fair amount of power, so you'll notice a slight bump in your electricity bill if you leave it on for long sessions. Another hidden trade-off is the computer you pair it with. The 4K resolution and full-color gamut demand a fairly beefy graphics card to run smoothly at 60 Hz. I've seen the display run perfectly fine with a mid-range GPU, but you'll notice occasional frame drops when you're panning across large, high-resolution canvases in Photoshop or Clip Studio Paint. So if you're planning to pair the Cintiq with an older laptop or a budget desktop, you should budget for a GPU upgrade as well, otherwise you'll be paying a premium for a screen that can't deliver its full potential. Who should walk away from this purchase? If you're a professional illustrator, concept artist, or animator who spends 8 or more hours a day drafting, painting, or retouching, the larger canvas and accurate color representation will likely pay for themselves in time saved and fewer revisions. The same goes for graphic designers who need to see fine typographic details at scale. The 4K pixel density makes tiny glyphs readable without zooming in, which is a subtle but real efficiency boost. And if you already own a smaller Wacom tablet and find yourself constantly battling with limited screen real estate, this is the logical next step. On the flip side, beginners or hobbyists should think twice. The price tag alone makes it a steep entry point, and most newcomers won't yet need the expansive color gamut or the sheer size to justify the expense. A smaller Cintiq model or even a non-screen tablet like the Wacom